desire first?
You have to know what it is first. Coming up as a woman in this culture, I was born in the 50s, and what I learned at first was how to put everybody else's wishes before mine. So my journey has involved learning what my own heart's desire is, and realizing that that's just as sacred and just as powerful as my son's, my husband's, my family's desires.
And you say that so confidently.
Well, I think to discover our heart's desire might be why we come. Our whole human existence is discover why we're here, perhaps, what our message is to give to the world, what our work is in the world. And for me, my heart's desire is my work in the world. Beautiful. And so it's very important for women, for young women, to know themselves well enough to know what that is, and then be willing to use their voice, however that voice manifests out in the world. Because I think that's where peace comes from.
It sounds a little bit selfish, putting my heart's desire first. But in the context of the way that was written is, the universe is waiting to give you anything you want. Because it says that in several scriptures and several different religions. But until you're very clear about what you want, the universe just goes, well, I'll wait until you figure out what it is that you want. So finding out what you want in your heart is really important. It also goes along with the phrase, I'm sure you've heard, you can't really love anybody else until you learn to love yourself. And this is the same thing. You can't really maybe even get what you want for other people, do things for other people until you figure out what you want yourself, and it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
There was a lot to that question.
It was a lot. It was a beautiful question.
A lot to your answer.
I thank your writer.
Yeah.
As a writer, those are the things I think about. I try to distill, we just talked for 5 minutes, I try to distill all that into one line.
I am. I am powerful. I am.
That's a huge affirmation, I am. And that's something that's a lot is distilled into 2 lines. I am as God created me. Because there are religions in which God is actually referred to as the great I am. There's also a whole chapter in the Course in Miracles that's titled I Am, and it's kind of deals with everything that we're talking about here. So there's a lot that's distilled into. That's the beauty of songwriting.
Very much. Imagine how many times I'm sitting here listening to in one ear, and then in the next ear listening to me say over and over again, how many times I say, I am doing this, I am going here, I am that, I am this, I am.
I am my heart's desire.
What was yes.
I am my heart's desire.
Oh, that's nice, Lori.
Because I don't know that we can actually ever be outside the context of our heart's desire, even though we might be mistaken. But I think that we always operate. Anyway.
What was that like to receive that nomination and the award for that song in 2006? What was that like?
Well, I have to first say that it's such an honor to be with all of these amazing New Thought songwriters and singers. Because we know them, but we never get to see them. We're all out there each week doing something somewhere, and we're never together. So, first of all, just to be able to come together and to sit in the motel room and sing and play and talk to each other and learn more about each other is fabulous. So just to be a part of that event. And it's probably, I kind of feel like it might be like the Grammys or like Oscars. Everybody has a huge body of work.
Yes.
And on any given day, this one might be more recognized than this one. On any given day, probably anyone could win. It's like I said earlier about a hit song. It's just the right song at the right time in the right place. Same thing here. So I'm more honored kind of for the song getting recognized than actually for the writer or the performer, because that's the whole idea of this.
And the other thing about the song I Am is it's being sung in communities all over the country, by children, by adults, by large groups, by small groups, by huge choirs. And there's something phenomenal for us to know that that song is being used like medicine out in the world. It's being used. People sing it. They, if they're having a bad day, they listen to it and they feel better. It's very powerful.
Very.
That it's gone way beyond our recording of it, and it's being used out in the world, and that's just a very powerful, very, very powerful feeling. It's a great joy to know that it's
and that goes back to it's a powerful affirmation.
Yes,
it works.
It's like a living network around
It is.
me.
A network of light.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
We were at a spiritual center a year or so ago, and the person giving the talk, the title of the talk was I Am. And he said, whatever your next words are that you put behind I Am is, because in New Thought, that's one of the goals of New Thought is that what you think and what you believe becomes true. So whatever you decide to put behind I Am, if you put I am sick, you're just actually retreading the whole idea that you are sick, rather than I am getting well, or some people say I already am well, because they want to actually make it.
I am as God created me.
Yeah.
But I am as God created me is
It's beautiful.
Ooh, ooh, ooh! There's so much we could do a whole show on I Am,
My
and I think we
goodness.
need to keep moving because let's see what's next. I would love to talk about this little card just for a moment.
Okay.
This little card is a card that anybody who is connected or wants to be connected with the I2I music,
Yes.
to vote for you this year,
Yes.
coming up. What I2I music music sends us these cards, and it has all of the categories, the 5 or 6 categories, with all of the songwriters.
Yes.
And then we get to pick out which one we want. But then we go back on the website and vote for you. Which I thought was very exciting, and I think it works.
And you can hear all the songs. You go to the website, you can hear all the songs that are nominated. It's just wonderful. And it's a great this year. Great group of songs.
And again, it's changing and growing and expanding
Absolutely.
its territories. And I hope that I can just see what's going to change and come forth. And it's changing for September now.
Yes.
This year. Instead of July.
Right.
So while everyone's watching this show, expecting me to present all of the songwriters and the results, sorry,
Not
you
till
have
September.
to keep watching the show. I wanted to make that apology right now.
There you go.
So I wanted to mention that because if they didn't have one, they can go and pre-register right here, right now at i2imusic.org.
Yes.
Had to.
Do that. It'll be wonderful.
Had to mention that.
Yes.
And so what is next? What is next? Let's see. 2007.
Yes.
That brings us right into 2007. Do all you can. Does that sound familiar?
It does.
Well, you're talking about changes for this year. It's happening in September instead of July. Once again, there's a new category this year. It's called
Spiritual Social Action.
Spiritual Social Action.
What a great category.
Wow.
That's
Sounds active.
One of the
I
nice
like
things
that.
about being in a new free-thinking, free-flowing, new thought organization is you can make things up as you go.
Oh, yeah, Richard. He must be thinking about us.
Yes, he must be.
Robert.
I'm trying to call. And I'm really glad this category was added because, that's what's happening in the world right now. We need to find ways to help the environment. We need to think about ways to
Be at peace.
Be inclusive.
Do all you can. Is this on another CD of yours as well?
It's on our newest CD. It came out in 2006. And Do All You Can is the title track. Do you want to hear the story of the song?
Yes.
Okay, well, Robert and I travel, as you know, and oftentimes in the afternoon we end up listening to the radio, to National Public Radio. And we heard a story at the end of 2005 about a little boy named Nkosi Johnson. I don't know if you're familiar with him.